Hello.
Hello. Nice t-shirt of Kiss we're wearing today.
Thanks. Thank you.
How's it going with the summer right now?
It's great. Well, I live in LA now, so I guess it's always summer here, but yeah, it's getting warmer and it feels good, vitamin D. Just getting out more and hanging out with your friends more. Um, it's nice. I can't complain, honestly.
And Priya Panda has a new single coming out and not
Yeah,
too
I do.
far.
Couple days. It's kind of exciting and it's kind of nerve-wracking because it's like a little bit different than all the rock stuff I've done in the past. Absolutely. So it's fun for me. It's fun to kind of change the sound that I've been working on. So that's kind of where I'm at.
And the music you're doing, it's like representing a certain aspect of you as well. And it seems that it's been very well portrayed visually online, with the retro image and sounds and styles.
Thank you. I think when it comes to the look and the sound and the style and the production and all that kind of stuff, I've always loved the 80s sound, whether it was rock or pop or metal or just like pretty much anything within that decade. There's something that really, calls out to me in terms of the way everything looked and the way the clothes were and the way the lifestyle was and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, this is definitely just still in that decade. I think for the most part that will be the most familiar decade for a lot of the people who listen to the new stuff, but it's completely different than the rock stuff I've done in the past. But yeah, the aesthetic and the artwork and all that kind of stuff has always been super important to me. I've always seen it as one, the visual component really brings out the audio component. I think like they go hand in hand.
It's like that when you're releasing a single, you need that proper album cover or artwork with it too, because it's kind of people will they maybe not click it if it's not the right image they want to see. I mean, what do you think of that, like, for now? Because it's getting pretty interesting on Spotify. You're seeing artists without even a name on it at times.
Things are so different now than even when I was in Diemonds, and let alone like when I was growing up, and what people tell me about their experiences growing up in the 80s and the 70s and whatnot, where people would just, the album cover was so important because it was what drew you into buying it in the first place. And while you're listening to the album on your turntable or on your cassette player, whatever, you're opening the album and looking at every word, all the lyrics, all the names, all the personnel who recorded the album. People talk, speaking of Kiss, like it's this experience of how they would look at the pictures and like look at this band while they were listening to this music, often for the first time, and just being so curious. It would get their imagination going and it would get their senses going in a different way than now. Like you're saying, people don't even they don't even have their artist name on it, but other than that, a lot of songs get added to playlists and people never even know who the artist is, even if they hear the song a million times. And that's because of the fact that there aren't all these visual components. There isn't a physical release often to accompany the track. And so honestly, I'm just learning as I go now with the digital space, because I don't come from that background. I don't come from that world. Like I won't even pretend that I know about streaming and plays and algorithms, and like that's just not my world. Like I have a huge record collection. I'm obsessed with buying records, and that hasn't changed for me. And so it's actually really weird doing just a digital only release without an album necessarily. Like I have an album recorded, but I don't know about, when I'm going to even put it out. I didn't know when I was going to put this single out. So it's just all been so, I don't know. I love creating, but do I love all this stuff? I can't say that I do.
Because you do have to put a lot of effort and time, just like, let's say, what day am I releasing the album or single, instead of just, concentrating on music. Like,
yeah. And I agree with you there, but also I've almost put less thought into it than I ever have. I was just like, recently I got into a pretty bad car accident, and it was very, difficult for me. I'm kind of learning how to walk again without a limp, and my hands really messed up and my head's pretty messed up. So it's new for me to have so much downtime. And it was during this time that I was just like, I have all these songs that I've made, and why aren't I putting them out? And what's stopping me? So I kind of just one day picked a date and decided to release it, because I don't have all that other stuff that I used to have tied up with the song release, which was like, okay, when's the album coming out? What's the label gonna want? And what's this and what's that? And I had, a band with 4 other people who are constantly, we're always, I don't know how to say it. I guess we were egging each other on, or just, we always wanted something going on with the band. So we'd always kind of be like, well, what's next? When's the next tour? When's the next recording session? When's the next interview? When's the next music video? It was always, we were kind of encouraging each other to move forward. And now, I don't have that experience. And so it's just, it's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing. And I don't overthink it as much, which is actually really nice in a way. It's more organic because it's just a song that I wrote, and now I want people to hear it. It might be 5 people that hear it, might be 50 people that hear it, and hopefully 5,000 people hear it. That would be great. But does it matter how many people hear it? Maybe, but it doesn't make, I don't carry it here as much as I used to, where it was like, a lot of that is tied up with youth and just having that fire, maybe a misplaced fire, because now my fire really exists within the creative process and making the songs themselves, whereas sometimes that fell on the back burner in the past because there was just so many juggling, so many plates or whatever, like wearing so many hats. Like I was doing the press releases, and I was helping book the tours, and I was always like, kind of involved in the music video making, or how I wanted the band to look aesthetically. And
right.
And now I'm just like, well, what about the songs? Yeah. So it's kind of become the main focus is the song. And that's kind of, it should have always been the most important thing, but I don't know if it always was, because things kind of get lost in just the go aspect of being in a band, being in an active band, and always on the road, and always thinking about the next thing instead of thinking about what you're doing right now while you're in the moment, and honestly, that's kind of why I wrote this particular song that I'm putting out. The song's called Temporary, and it's about how everything is, fleeting, and how everything comes and goes so quickly that if you're not living in the present and not enjoying it while it's happening, you'll miss it in a blink of an eye. And I feel like I'm guilty of that. Like when I was doing all the things I wanted to do and I loved doing, I was often just thinking about the next thing and what's coming up next. And I talked to so many different musicians and people that have done really, things that they've always wanted to do and achieve different goals that they had, or dreams that they had, or meet different people that they wanted to meet. And it's almost like they were so you live in this habit of thinking about the future or the past, and you don't really live in the present. And yeah, before you know it, it can be gone. And you want to enjoy as much of it while you're in that time doing it. So
That's like very well said. And it's like even like philosophy in a book. I mean, it is true.
I know, and I think I've spending a lot of my time reading books and just hopefully enlightening myself, and just not, I don't know, I think I've basically, faced like an ego death, as they call it. And it's not, I don't really have the same aspirations that I used to have in terms of wanting to be, well liked, or wanting to have infamy or popularity or streams or, a lot of people knowing what I'm up to and all that stuff have actually become extremely private. And it's more about just creating something out of absolutely nothing has become the most important priority to me.
Priya, do you find that living in LA versus Canada is a whole different lifestyle, and time is going differently down there? Because it's
Oh my
always go.
I feel like it's so crazy because everyone thinks LA is this crazy city, which, don't get me wrong, it's very crazy. But my lifestyle in Toronto was so much more crazy. Like, I had 7 jobs and I toured constantly, and I had 2 bands by the, when I left. And I was so just busy and overwhelmed. I never stopped to think. I barely ever got to see my family, even though they lived, 20 minutes from me or 30 minutes from me. And so yeah, the lifestyle is definitely different out here, but for me, it seems to have slowed down considerably. But I think over the last 2 years, and I feel I'm not the only one who's gone through this, like, my relationship with time has changed so much. Like, I feel like there's less of it and it goes by so quickly. And sometimes I wake up and all of a sudden it's the nighttime, it feels like, and I haven't, done a lot of things, or all the things I wanted to do that day. And yeah, you got to appreciate all those moments while you have them, because they go so fast. And like, the last couple of years really, I think, not just for me, but for a lot of people, illustrated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moments are very important. And yeah, the lifestyle here is definitely crazy. I won't lie to you. It's very crazy. But but Canada, I mean, Canada's one thing, of course, but Toronto's another thing. It's a very fast-paced city. It's expensive. You got to work all the time to make ends meet. And I guess I never moved here from a small town or anything, so it's been very lateral. It was it was like a linear move. It didn't feel like, oh my gosh, like suddenly this is more expensive, or that's more expensive, or rent's more expensive, or gas is more expensive. It was almost like very similar. So I was used to it. I know it's a shock to a lot of people who come here from other parts of the US or from a smaller town in Canada or whatever, but I guess it has a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. Just like that, we've learned a lot of stuff about time and stuff like that. And we got to appreciate our stuff, and summer's coming, or is here, I should say.
And it almost feels like it's over already, isn't it weird?
Yeah, it's like end of June in a few days. Imagine that.
In a few days. Yeah. It feels like I just looked at the calendar and it was May. So, and now it's almost July. So yeah, I'm still struggling with how fast time has gone. I feel like we're in a time warp, and I don't think it's just me or getting older or any of that stuff. I think like we've literally shifted the way that humanity experiences time collectively as a species. Like, it's very crazy, and so many people I talk to feel like the same way.
Well, it's like when you take the iPhone clock going and then you got the atomic clock, it's two different times. I don't know if you heard about that. It's interesting when you talk about time now.
I have actually heard something of that nature before, and yeah, I mean, I believe it. I can go very I guess I don't think as much in general about everything that I know. I feel like I didn't know anything, and now I'm slowly opening Pandora's box, and I'm just figuring out like life for the first time. And I think I'm just I don't even know. I guess I'm deprogramming. I'm detaching from the matrix, and I'm just, it sounds crazy, but it's so true, because I just feel like I don't view life the same that I did even yesterday, because every day I'm learning something new. Like what you said about, I mean, I feel like we're literally in a different timeline than we were when I was at Diemonds. I feel like
Yeah.
it is so is different, and my reality is so different. And since you create your own reality because of what you think and how you lead your life and what you believe to be real, I feel like I've completely altered my reality, because I don't think the same way and see the world the same way and life the same way.
You will make your realities as they want to be, and the best of them.
You're only limited by what you believe to be real or true. And that's something I'm learning as well. And all this kind of stuff that I say now that maybe sounds crazy to a lot of people, or maybe crazy to you, I don't know. It's just, I think that we're taught to think that these kinds of thoughts are crazy. And that's part of the reason that, we're so rooted in things like science, or believing things like the confines of religious beliefs, or governmental beliefs, or like things like that. It's easier to be told what to think than it is to really think for yourself. Yeah.
But everything you're talking about does make sense. And when this pandemic hit, everybody's seeing time differently, and everybody's looking at everything totally different,
So I think you're right. I think like living in a city for the first time in my entire life, like being born and raised essentially, in a pretty big city, I just feel like I'm not even sure if that's the kind of life that I'm looking for myself, which I'd never thought in a million years. The only places I've ever lived are Toronto, New York, and Los Angeles. So it's like, and if you even want to go one step further, then I've spent a lot of time in Bombay, where my parents are from. That's a bigger city than all of those places. So it's just, I mean, sometimes I just want nature, and I just want to slow everything right down, and not take every moment for granted, and be able to take some time and stare up at the sky and things like that you don't really do in certain places. I feel like it creates a huge disconnect from like your connection to your surroundings and the people around you and your community. It's
like going working, or not even working, but just hanging out in the woods and writing songs there. You're going to think differently than going in the city, so just.
Yeah, I've never done it. And I definitely see the appeal.
Yeah, but it's very good to talk to you on this stuff. And the image, keep on doing it, because the videos seem to be doing good on YouTube, and the people just like that stuff. And the genre of music, I think, is a brilliant choice, and it's got that darkness in it mixed with the light, so it's very good.
I think that duality is something I've always explored when it comes to my art or my writing, but what's changed for me now is I think that I don't know. Before I was very, I saw the world as maybe just always dark, and I never really saw the light aspects. And that's what's changed. I think the balance is very important. And I think it's missing when there's no balance in every aspect of your life, any aspect of your life, where it throws off something else. And so I embrace them both now.
Yeah. And you got to do that. And it's what the best do, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been such a learning experience. And I think I've come to that conclusion myself. It's what's natural for all of us.
Okay. Well, can't wait till this is released June 30th and everybody's going to enjoy it.
Thank you.
So you have a wonderful day in LA, and I'm going to enjoy myself in Nova Scotia in the rain today.
Yeah, where do you live?
3 hours from Halifax.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. I love Nova Scotia. And I mean, one of my favorite bands of all times from Nova Scotia is Sloan. So
okay.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with them.
No, they're amazing. And I mean, now they're, I guess, a Toronto band, but their roots are all there. And so
that's true. Well, Priya, thank you very much. And you have a beautiful day. And we'll talk back.
Okay. Did you want me to send you the single or?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, I could do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.